pictures.
Some trouble with mother.
Oh dear, not so.
This is my church.
The Champions League dream is over for Arsenal. Wembley not a successful second home. But there was a happy return to form at Highbury last Saturday. Now the Gunners have a new target in their sights. Their assault on the UEFA Cup begins tonight. Yes, we're at Highbury for Arsenal against Nantes. It's the third round, first leg of the UEFA Cup. Hello there, everybody. Yes, there is life after the Champions League for Arsenal. The UEFA Cup has broken the fall, and here they are against the 7 times champions of France, Nantes. Andy Gray, it is a bit of a mystery as to why, under Arsene Wenger, Arsenal haven't really fulfilled their potential in Europe.
It is a mystery, and I think that, in all honesty, Martin, looking at the performances, I don't think the results have justified the performances. I actually think at times Arsenal played extremely well in Europe, and I think even this season you look at results at Fiorentina, only a missed penalty stopped them from coming away with a brilliant result. One chance from Batistuta at Wembley has cost them dear, and I actually think that when you look at the previous year when they've lost late goals at Wembley that an Arsenal side haven't normally done, I think they've performed better than the results have suggested. They now, though, are in this tournament, which is knockout, which is strange for them. They're used to playing on a league basis, and it's going to be interesting to see how they cope with that. But I think they'll enjoy it. I think they want to put that record straight. They want to start getting it right, and what better place to start than here? At home, proper home.
Real home.
Here at Highbury.
Right, let's give you the team news. And Arsenal are without 2 members of their veteran back four, Lee Dixon and Martin Keown, both injured. So Nelson Vivas starts at right back with Gilles Grimandi in the centre of the defence. In midfield, Freddie Ljungberg still preferred to Ray Parlour on the right. Patrick Vieira is available in this competition. Up front, it's Kanu and Bergkamp. Nantes are famous for developing their own talent. Typical of that is the fact that they're captained by a 20-year-old goalkeeper, Mikhail Landreau. 2 first-choice defenders, Fabry and Lièvre, are injured. The number 24, Yves Deroff, comes in for his first game of the season. In midfield, look out for Carrière and current under-21 cap Piocel. Sibieski is the top scorer with 9 goals in all competitions so far. Monterrubio has 3 UEFA Cup goals to his name, but fellow striker Da Rocha was unable to train here last night, so there is a place for an 18-year-old Ahamada.
Well, when you look at the systems and the teams that are playing here, you do say that the onus is on Arsenal to push forward and attack. But you mentioned 2 players, Sibieski here at number 10, who'll just play off the front 2, Martin, and Monterrubio in particular. Now, these 2 will be a threat, there isn't a doubt about that. But I think when you look at Vivas, Grimandi, Adams and Winterburn, these are all experienced and good enough to cope with that. They will have to watch for Sibieski making runs from deep, either in between centre-backs or in between centre-back and full-backs. And Ahamada, the little unknown 18-year-old, see how he copes with the pressure. In midfield, I would expect Arsenal to have a huge advantage. I know they're without Ray Parlour, but Ljungberg, a Swedish international, this is a powerful looking four. And with Vieira and Petit back in harmony again, and Piocel and Carrière, 2 players that you mentioned who are talented, are going to have to play very well to stop, I think, this onslaught from these 2. And of course, Overmars against it off will want to push them back and even making these runs in behind on the angle. Up front, well, Kanu and Bergkamp. Bergkamp, 2 goals at the weekend, will be feeling extremely confident. I wonder if one of them will go and play up there just occasionally, just to sort them out. If both drop off like this, it's going to cause a problem to the back 3. But I would guess Gilles, Sauvignon and Chanellet will stay there, not get drawn out. They'll try to keep it tight, hopefully keep Arsenal at 0-0 for as long as possible.
Much has been made of the difference between Wembley and Highbury to try to explain Arsenal's poor results at their adopted Champions League home. Highbury is just 1.5 yards narrower than Wembley, but it is 5 yards shorter. So this is a significantly smaller pitch. Even so, Arsenal have also failed to win their last couple of European games here, both in the UEFA Cup, which they now join tonight under new European competition rules. This competition, a safety net for the clubs that finished third in each of the 8 groups of the first phase of the Champions League. And on the subject of Highbury and its lack of size generally, there are moves afoot from boardroom level, with David Dean very much at the forefront of negotiations to try and develop a new site only some half a mile away from Highbury. Arsenal, of course, a club that moved in the early years of the century from South London to North London. Maybe history about to repeat itself in some sense. Nantes have also felt the wind of change. No more Cup Winners' Cup, the tournament they would have joined as the French Cup winners last season. A place in this UEFA Cup instead. And so far they have knocked out Ionikos of Greece and Inter Bratislava from Slovakia.
Well, you talked about how young they were. Just look at them. It looks like a bunch of schoolboys waiting to come out for the pre-match practice match. They are young. I just wonder how they'll cope with this, Martin. Highbury and all it's about it. Playing against, I think it's a total French team that starts for them. A very unusual occurrence that now in modern day football, to have everyone from their home country. How they'll feel playing against 2 legends, 2 French legends in the midfield. Interesting.
And other legends like Tony Adams and David Seaman, Nigel Winterburn, who's taken part in so many of these European evenings for Arsenal. Kanu, Patrick Vieira, delighted that he can get some game time in Europe as he just sets out on a massive domestic suspension. Arsenal have not done justice to the European influence of Arsene Wenger. Nantes come here 12th in the French First Division, and that's some improvement after a sequence of 6 successive defeats. A club worst in the record books, and that had put them in relegation trouble, something they'd never experienced since they were promoted to the top flight of French football way back in 1963. They do have a reputation for stylish play, and Arsene Wenger has described them as technically, Andy, the best side in France, even though, as I say, they're 12th in the table.
Yeah, I think technically they will be good, Martin. But I think the one thing that Arsene Wenger's side won't give them is time for that technique to flourish. I think Arsenal will play this at high tempo, press them, put them under pressure, test the nerve of this young side from the first whistle in this match.
Arsenal third in the Premiership now, and mightily impressive here against Middlesbrough last weekend. UEFA with strong beliefs about fair play and the formalities of the handshakes, very much with that in mind. Not a pretty fair side, only 1 yellow card from 4 games so far in this competition. Not quite so straightforward for Arsenal. If Vieira gets booked again here tonight, he'll miss the second leg. But Europe is the entire world for Patrick Vieira at the moment. Only 1 game into his 7-match domestic ban. Vieira and Manu Petit together far too fleetingly for Arsenal fans. Only on 3 previous occasions, those 2 Frenchmen in the centre of Arsenal's midfield in the last 3 months. There was just a thought that Manu Petit might be protected tonight because he is needed for the domestic matches, having just recovered from knee trouble that's affected his appearance record this season. Michael Landreau, the captain of Nantes, only 20. And he's only 1 metre 76. That's around
5'9"?
5'9", yeah.
Not the biggest, is he?
Big night for him and his young teammates. Dennis Bergkamp has won this UEFA Cup with both Ajax in '92 and a couple of years later with Inter. Would be a remarkable hat-trick. And Arsenal certainly, even though they enter the competition by this unusual route, you feel do have the quality to make a real challenge in a competition they did win back in 1970 when it was still known as the Fairs Cup. Of course, under George Graham's influence, the Cup Winners' Cup came here in the 90s. So Nantes to kick off. They've been here a couple of days. The wives and the families of the players also part of the trip. And they have a battle plan. They do hope that the mobility of this youthful side can trouble Arsenal at the back. Arsenal haven't been as watertight defensively as in the last couple of years. Here's Tony Adams with Gilles Grimondi alongside him tonight. Keown was hurt in training after the England-Scotland game at Hampden. Didn't play at Wembley. Monterrubio. Now Gillet, flicked off Petit's head. Wide by Carrière to Duroff, who's only just back from a long-term injury. He was hurt in the last game of last season. Ahamada, one of those pushed through the youth policy, which has been very much the forefront of Nantes. They have a way of developing players, they have a way of a philosophy, if you like, of a style of football, not by mistake by Vivas.
Sloppy. But already there's plenty of movement on the Nantes side when they have the ball. And Arsenal have started pretty quickly as well. Look like they're going to try and press, hustle them out of the style, and then dominate themselves when they have the ball.
Bergkamp. There's Monterrubio, whose goal qualified Nantes for this tournament. It won the French Cup final. Ahamada, the teenager. Sobieski, the top scorer in the centre, joined by Carrière. The ball was over-ambitious. Marc Overmars has really returned to his best form in the last few weeks, emphasised by his hat-trick against Middlesbrough. Ahamada getting plenty of early touches.
Well, they all are, to be fair. They've really settled well on the outside. Hardly a ball. That's about the first one that's been played through the air mark, and they look to play everything into feet. And to do that, you really have to have plenty of movement in your side.
About 500 travelling fans here. Nantes have only ever played one other English club before in European competition. That was in the early 70s, and it was in North London. They went out to Tottenham Hotspur. The coach, Reynald Denouix, a former Nantes player, very much part of the football family. Shot by Carrière. He's really the man who can make them play from midfield, but it's Overmars trying to go through the gears here. Kanu in the centre. So too is Dennis Bergkamp. Duroff charged with the responsibility of trying to curb Marc Overmars down that far side.
Well, he wasn't found wanting for pace there. Overmars tested him early, knocked it past him on the outside. Duroff kept pace with him. Wasn't a problem. Forced Overmars to turn back onto his right side.
Yes, a man for a particular mission, Duroff, it seems. As I say, brought back into the team. He's not played before this season, regaining fitness. Raimondi can let it run. David Seaman, who went into those Euro 2000 playoffs with a volley of criticism coming his way about the way he played on his return from injury. But important saves at Hamden from Kevin Gallagher and from Christian Daly at Wembley played a big part in England eventually going through. At the other end, the goalkeeper just really at the outset of his career. Adams wanting to get it down. Winterburn. Raimondi. That's starting for Arsenal for only the second time this season. Raimondi comes off the head of Duroff, but it'll be kept in by Overmars. Possibilities here for Arsenal. Petit, Vieira calling for it.
Should have got it, just needed to help it on. Emmanuel Petit, his midfield partner, plenty of space, just his right.
Adams, now a chance for Patrick Vieira to express himself.
Yeah, I imagine he'll want to be up for this, involved every time he can get on the ball, get on it. And he knows there's going to be a lot of inactivity for him. As you say, only one game in the UEFA Cup. Should he get through, one more for him, because then this goes to bed till what, March sometime, before we have another UEFA Cup tie.
Overmars, Kanu. That's been the last 32 of the UEFA Cup now.
Sure about that, man. Who else is coming in after this round? Anybody with a letter Y in their name is now in the UEFA Cup.
European cynic here, Mr. Gray. But I can understand the sentiment. It is a bit strange, and there have been plenty of critics of the new style of European rules that has come from the expanded Champions League, the abolition of the Cup Winners' Cup. Bergkamp. And they're certainly confident on the ball, not. That's the way they've been brought up.
It's give and go. You can see there's an awful lot of one touch and two touch practice going on, and these boys train.
And they liken themselves to Liverpool in many ways, particularly in the way they like to, as they create their own family. The coach, much a man of Nantes. Kanu, just a little wide the pass for Patrick Vieira, who thought he was accelerating down an avenue there that might lead to an opening chance for Arsenal.
Good pressure from Vieira, not only winning the ball in midfield but carrying on his run, almost taking him through.
Raimondi. Petit. Want to drop virtually everyone behind the ball. Overmars. Petit gets there first, but allows Sibierski to dispossess him. He's tight on Ahamada. Carrier getting it back. Adams is, like Vieira, on 2 yellow cards in Europe. One more, and that would mean a suspension. Winterburn. Kanu and Bergkamp. And it's dropped off Leroy. Kanu back-heeled it into Leroy, who's still tussling tenaciously, trying to help not clear their lines. Ljungberg. That's going outside Kanu. He uses him as the decoy. Still Kanu. Badly hooked the shot with the left foot.
The old left peg swinger, wasn't it? Opened them up, used the run of Vivas very well. Could easily have put the full back in. Maybe should have put the full back in. It's a pretty poor shot at the end for Kanu. I think the one thing that Arsenal know they'll get is a chance against this team, because they do want to play. They're all comfortable to take the ball even under pressure.
Chase here by Monterrubio. A long pass by Leroy.
That's the first time they've searched any ball of any distance. No, it was a beautifully struck pass, beautifully weighted.
It's not just at Wembley where Arsenal have not defended as well this season. They've already conceded, I think, 15 in the Premiership compared to 17 over the whole of last season. Just one clean sheet in their last 11 games in all competitions. And there was just a sense of an opening there as Leroy dropped it in behind Arsenal. Monterrubio was chasing, got a touch and took it straight to David Seaman. Petit. Now Sibierski. Adams claiming he got the ball. The officials all from Israel tonight.
Might have taken both, I think, Tony Adams there. I think it's a plea of innocence we've seen many, many times over the last few years. He thinks he's got the ball, but you can see he's trapped the lad as well. Tony's motto: if you can't get one clean, I'll take both.
But he is on this disciplinary tightrope. Referee Danny Corrin's sympathy there, keeping Adams from falling off it and getting the booking that would mean a ban from the second leg, which will take place in Nantes in 2 weeks' time. Pivas, Monterrubio coming back.
Well, 10 minutes, Martin, and no real scare for Nantes. They've looked pretty comfortable. Arsenal really haven't managed to fashion anything that you would call even half a chance. The passing in the last third has really not been up to its usual accurate self, and they've just lost possession too easily, Arsenal, in the Nantes half of the pitch at the moment. Haven't really slipped into gear high up the pitch.
Grimondi. Ljungberg, who also has a domestic suspension to start serving this coming weekend after being sent off at Spurs and failing in his appeal. Leroy. Monterrubio letting it run. Nice flick from Sibierski. Adams sliding in. It breaks to Ahamada. Early cross. Not into the right area, says Sibierski, pointing where he wanted the ball to have been played, towards the near post.
Well, they do all right, you know. We talked about the two front men, Ahamada and Monterrubio, with Sibierski just behind, but those three actually spread themselves, Martin, over the width of the pitch when Arsenal have it. They're right across the halfway line, forcing Arsenal. They really look for more difficult passes than they want at the moment. So when they lose the ball, they do set themselves up well. I always think the first goal's the hardest one in competitions like this, against teams like this. They make you work so very, very hard for that first breakthrough.
Well, for those of you watching on Sky Sports News, Roma versus Newcastle also available this evening. Just press the back up and select the match. For Sky Sports 3 viewers, you must have the Sky Digital facility and switch to Sky Sports News before you can access the game in Rome. Here's Grimondi.
Moments like this, Nantes have a 5 absolutely right across the back. Leroy and Daroff, as you mentioned, they just go back and make it a 5 across the edge of the 18-yard box. This might take a little bit of patience from Arsenal, a little bit of skill. They've got the ability. I don't think we can doubt that. They've just been a little bit sloppy at times in the last third.
Looks like at the back there from Adams. Caught one or two of his teammates out. Put a tease pass. Kanu. Penalty. Challenged by Leroy.
He's given it.
In the 14th minute. Arsenal a little sluggish at the start. But Kanu's stride catching out Loire.
Well, this is the first move they've put together, Martin, honestly, and it gets there just before Loire. Just the foot comes out, catches the right leg. It's a good decision from the referee. He had a good look at it, made his decision very quickly. He doesn't agree, but I'm afraid that looked a penalty to me, and more importantly for Arsenal, it looked a penalty from the referee's point of view.
Well, Mark Overmars took a penalty here at the weekend against Middlesbrough. Mark Schwarzer, the goalkeeper, actually touched it onto the post. It came back out again, and Overmars got to the rebound. A bit of fortune for him. He's now got the distraction of the casualty that is Kanu. Gary Lewin just checking the damage before the penalty can be taken. So Arsenal, having dropped out of the Champions League into their first match in the UEFA Cup this season, inside the first 15 minutes of it. Ball on the penalty spot. Mark Overmars to take it. 1-0 to Arsenal. Puffs the cheeks out because Landreau came close to getting it.
Well, like Mark Schwarzer, he guessed right. He went the right way, he gets a hand on it. But it's just not enough. Well, he'll be disappointed, the goalkeeper, man. It's a good height for a goalkeeper. Talk about just a couple of feet off the ground. That's where the goalkeeper likes to save them. And having guessed right and gotten across, well, he'll be pleased it's found its way in. And Arsenal might settle from there.
Overmars, 5 in his previous 3 games. On target again here. And Landreau, the goalkeeper who marked his Nantes debut 3 years ago by saving a penalty, almost saving one here in the UEFA Cup at Highbury. Vieira, Kanu moving reasonably freely. Petit. Well, Andy, you said about the difficulty of getting the first goal. Arsenal have got it. It's come at a time when they're not playing particularly well.
It's a good breakthrough. 15 minutes in, they hadn't really created a thing, Martin, up until then. Let's see if suddenly the confidence, the zip, comes back to the play.
Bergkamp. Vieira decided not to hit the ball goalwards first time, trying to maybe manufacture a give and go with Ljungberg.
Oh, I'd like to have seen him hit that. Oh, it was there to be hit. It wasn't too fast, it was just coming across the box at a lovely pace to come on to and strike.
Vivas's pass. Not the normal assured first touch by Kanu, but it did the job. Vieira measuring it for Winterberg. Headed out by Gillet. Lost a couple of defenders. Nantes, Fabry, the Argentinian international, who is here supporting the team. He's had a groin operation, and Lièvre, who's been in the team, was injured in their last match. It was a win, a 2-0 win against the Nantes and Tony Cascarino last Saturday. Bergkamp. Ljungberg.
Just suddenly there's a little bit more purpose to Arsenal's play, Martin. No surprise to me that coincides with them getting the opening goal. A little bit more flow to their game. I just wonder here, I talked about that. I think Arsenal, height-wise, power, are physically superior.
Adams trying to prove that point.
Might have done better. Might have done better, Tony Adams. I'll tell you what, you'd have backed him getting a header on goal here, not against a very tall player at the back post. Dominating him physically. Not his best header.
Over Vivas. David Seaman trying to keep the momentum for Arsenal, keeping it in play. Carrier. do try and play the game the right way, Nantes. And that will help the entertainment level, I'm sure, not just tonight, but when we bring you the second leg from France. I just feel that Arsenal have the strength. They should have the style and sophistication as well. They certainly have bags more experience. Ljungberg. The Nantes scouting team were here on Saturday, and that rather put the frighteners on them, the way Middlesbrough, with plenty of international talent of their own, were swept aside. Shanley. They haven't played often with three at the back. It's a compliment to Arsenal that they have changed their tactics. Gillet. Sobieski too far ahead of him. He was one of the enfants terribles of French football when he failed a drugs test and was rather released by Auxerre, his previous club. Decided to take a chance on Sobieski, and they've been rewarded for their faith in him. So he's got 9 goals already this season. He's a dangerous customer, likes to play behind the attackers rather than be the main man up front. Was in the French squad that went to the Olympics in Atlanta in '96. Plenty of players Vieira was selected for, but didn't join up with because of injury. Winterberg. Ljungberg. Making it short with Bergkamp. Kanu moving the defenders around at the sharp end of things. Arsenal happy to play with patience here. Look for the right sort of ball from Bergkamp for Vieira. Goalkeeper started to come. Vieira's got the better of him. Patrick Vieira behind Kanu. Overmars! Stopped on the line by Savino.
Lovely football. Great little deep run from Patrick Vieira, and well, not for the first time, a wonderful spot from Dennis Bergkamp. Goalkeeper comes into no man's land there, but from there that was brilliant skill. He couldn't get it to Kanu, that ball wasn't aimed for him, but that's really good covering on the line. Knows his goalkeeper's got to walk about, gets back on the line, and Sauvignon manages to block the shot.
A little cameo, I think, of where the game might shape up, with Arsenal prepared to take their time, knowing that if they look and show some patience, they'll be able to probe as well.
And they'll get plenty of the ball, that's a certainty.
Adams. Ball by Piocel. He's a current member of the French under-21 squad. They went out of the European competition at that level recently in a playoff game with Italy. Thierry Henry played in the playoff as well. Vivas with the cross. Halfway through the first half of the first leg, third round of the UEFA Cup. Second chance in Europe this season for Arsenal. As Andy said earlier, haven't really had the results over the past 2 Champions League campaigns that some of their performances deserved.
I think they've been unlucky, man. I really do believe that. I think Arsene Wenger's side would have been a pretty powerful team in the Champions League, and had they enjoyed a little bit more good fortune in certain games, I think they would have contested it either this season or certainly last far longer than they did. That's a poor ball. You get that much height advantage up there, you've got to deliver a ball in there for the players. They're poor from Vivas.
Bergkamp surprisingly didn't angle that one. Goes straight on through to Landreau. Also a member of the French under-21 squad.
just look at Patine at times, Martin. He looks, you know, he's got a big strap in there on his left leg, over the left knee there. A little bit of protection there for him.
Well, there was a lot of speculation tonight about what team Arsene Wenger would put out for all sorts of reasons. And Arsenal do feel now that they must make the Premiership their #1 target. I think if you talk to Arsene Wenger, that's probably always been the case, but they were very hurt by losing their title to Manchester United. Of course, also out of the FA Cup, and knocked that trophy from their grasp as well in that extraordinary saga of the semi-finals. So there's a certain amount of prioritising to be done by Arsenal. Ljungberg, too high for Bergkamp. A tentative header by De Roff, but Shanley was there. Now Savino to Monterrubio, who's been left out of the team recently. Rather had too much to say for himself, got a bit too big for his boots, they say. Youthful exuberance, perhaps he would call it, but he's been brought back. Da Rocha, who's an important forward for them, failed a fitness test here last night.
There you go, he'd have caught that if it had been at Wembley.
He would, 5 extra yards. Part of the problem, Andy, here, not just the playing surface, but the whole intimacy of Highbury for the Champions League, and what comes with it, the facilities needed for advertisers, I guess for the media as well. But they're going to have to play here next season, it seems, with Wembley scheduled for demolition. That's if they qualify for the Champions League. Big job to be done to get into that situation. Ljungberg. You'd back them, I think, in these circumstances. Petit.
Oh, that one's gone. Oh, almost.
Andro running the ball, just spinning away from him as well. It was very positive movement by the young goalkeeper.
It's been a funny 26 minutes, Emmanuel Petit, Martin. He's been on the ball an awful lot. And really, for him, he's quality of passing really hasn't been up to scratch. He's been caught in possession, he's given it away. The one pass that he's threaded through of genuine quality is the one that led to Kanu being brought down for the penalty, but he still looks in trouble to me. He doesn't look comfortable, looks to be limping slightly.
Yes, Ray Parlour is warming up.
Now, it might be that, because it really doesn't look happy to me, Emmanuel Petit.
I said earlier, it's only the 4th time in over 3 months that Vieira and Petit have started together, and it could be cut short here again. You talk about Arsenal as the title challengers, you do tend to think of the very best 11 that they have, although the squad has been broadened in quality over the last year or so. But you look at that midfield platform of the two Frenchmen.
Well, it's the best combination in the country, and I don't care who are upset by saying that. There are other great midfield players who play for other teams, but as a duo, I don't think there's any duo to beat them. Simple as that.
Here's Ljungberg. Kanu. The Bergkamp. Lovely football from Arsenal. And a good challenge by Gillet. Bergkamp. Hamada coming back. And just catching the Dutchman. And every set piece, you do think that Arsenal ought to be able to put the ball into the sort of area to use the extra height that they have, particularly in the shape of Kanu and Adams and Vieira.
You'd expect so, wouldn't you? But they haven't put good delivery in as yet. Maybe this time.
From Manu Petit.
Well. I thought Kanu had that. Now, whether he was hauled down...
He ended up on the ground.
It'll be interesting to see that one again. He looked to be in front of his marker.
Well, no great Arsenal protest, no. It must be said. Gillet. Hamada. Oh, David Seaman put to the test there by Sibierski from Shot outside the penalty area, but this was the Arsenal incident from the free kick.
Well, you see he's got hold of his shirt. I think they pulled him down there. I think Canale was lucky to get away with that, but the referee was at the edge of the box, Martin, and looking through a forest of players would have had great difficulty in spotting that, but it's something that's very often seen now in football, particularly in foreign and European football.
It's very softly spoken, Kanu, as well. Any cries of protest, I don't think would have carried that far to the edge of the penalty area. Here goes Overmars. Straight off him by the player you were talking about, the Shanley, who was tugging away at Kanu a moment or two ago. But at the other end, it was a decent strike by Sobieski.
The surprise element, I think, was the thing that troubled David Seaman more than anything. I don't think he expected it. Shot to come as early as it did. It struck very well.
Grimondi, who's only just back in European eligibility, got a ban for being sent off in Barcelona. Chile comes forward at the free kick. It's a little down across the edge of the area. Sobieski's maybe the most likely target. He was blocked off in true Argentine fashion by Nelson Vivas.
He's got in the way of his run, let the ball drift over his head. Not a problem. You watch Vivas left of the screen. Well, there you go. You ain't getting anywhere near that, son. Not a problem.
Arsenal leading by a mark. Overmars penalty. Kanu was felled by Leroy. Very much the young and the not so young there.
Good pace from Ahamada, I have to say. Really did put Nigel Winterburn under pressure.
Was it Bobby Robson speaking out in favour of Nigel Winterburn?
Yeah, it was.
Saying that really, if England are looking in the short term, and that includes the finals of Euro 2000 for a left-back, there's still nobody better.
Well, I mean, I saw Andy Hinchcliffe, you and I did play for Sheffield Wednesday, play ever so well at Upton Park, producing some wonderful crosses from that left-hand side. I'm sure the likes of Alan Shearer would appreciate.
So what you're saying, there's bags of competition on the left-hand side.
Should be, what I'm saying.
Yes.
But that's at left-back, Martin. I think England's problem is slightly ahead of left-back, yeah.
Nigel Winterburn doesn't have any competition at the moment in the Arsenal team, in the sense that Silvinho, the Brazilian, is unavailable tonight. He's got a back injury. Vieira. They're always ahead of Kanu. Hasn't been vintage Arsenal so far.
No, it hasn't. And I think an awful lot of that's down to the way they've set the stall out, Martin. Made it difficult for Arsenal as well.
Sobieski trying to guide it through back to Monterrubio. Ljungberg on the touchline beat. Holding off PSL. And Bergkamp. Although Shanley was tight on him, that's not always a problem for a player as gifted as Bergkamp. Monterrubio, there are 4 forward for Nantes here. And that ball is mine, says Winterburn. Emphatic tackle. Sabino. Sobieski. It's a bit ambitious, especially with the long legs of Vieira around, but the referee from Israel says that's a free kick.
Not for him poking the ball away, just I think he got entangled with her off just prior to that.
Sobieski. Adams sorting him out. Petit. Tony Adams committed himself forward. And the flag went up. Just a chance for me to remind you again, for those of you watching on Sky Sports News, Roma versus Newcastle also available this evening. Just press back up and select the match. But for Sky Sports 3 viewers, you must have access to Sky Digital and switch to Sky Sports News before you can access the game in Rome.
Oh, your knowledge is stunning, mate, stunning.
Back to the football, and Gilles Grimondi. Overmars waiting, Winterburn waiting. Not preferring that the pass went to the left back rather than Overmars, who was in a more threatening position. He's got the ball now. Gets the better of De Roth. Kanu. It's a good challenge by Savino. Vieira, who has got a terrific shot when he opts to use it.
Left side though there, that would have been preferable for him on his right foot. This is a good little tackle here as Kanu looked to take it, but good skill, a little set up. Cuts across the ball, you can see that as soon as he hit it.
Nantes have actually taken 7 points from their last 3 games. 2 wins and a draw in the French First Division. It's lifted them from right down, the second from bottom, to 12th in the table. Prior to that, 6 consecutive league defeats, their worst ever sequence in the top French division.
Well, it hasn't been vintage Arsenal, you've been absolutely right, Mark. 35 minutes has been bitty Arsenal, really. Haven't really flowed. Only that one move. They've had a couple of good situations develop. Haven't really tested the goalkeeper. I don't remember him being called in to make a save, really, of any description at the moment.
Petit looking for Kanu again, that ball from left to right. Vieira backing up the play. Not lucky, but it's got to Ljungberg. Back to Vieira, but he's crowded out. Drawn out by Savino, and then Sibierski. Vivas intervening. Winterburn.
Petit's really struggling, Mark. He's picked himself up very slowly, very gingerly. I think he'll be going off very shortly. Didn't seem happy at all. He lunged into a tackle, didn't make contact. And
well, the strapping was there for all to see. And this extra chance in Europe, grateful though Arsenal may be for it, might come at a price if it's going to mean an injury that will keep Manu Petit on the sidelines. They've got such a busy schedule coming up.
I have to say, Martin, it's a very strange decision for me if there was a doubt about him, and I can only think there must have been. That big strapping on the left knee. From what? From about 14, 15 minutes in, he struggled.
The attempted pass there, I think had gone up for offside against Overmars. Oh, I'm not so sure the second time.
No, I think
that's another passage of play.
I think what the referee did, Martin, was waited. He thought they'd won the ball back. This pass here gets cut out, the flag is up your right, and the referee let that go. And he should have
won the ball back.
He should have, because. But then the referee decided he would go for the offside, and here's a substitution that, well, it's been due for 10 minutes, 15 minutes for me now.
Just watching where Ray Parlour goes to, whether he's going to swap with Freddie Ljungberg. Not at the moment. Arsenal are still in the Worthington Cup. Here's Bergkamp taking Nantes on. And, well, it comes as a surprise, really, at the end of such a threatening run that he doesn't just steer this into the corner with the quality that he has in so much abundance.
He can't back off that far, that long against someone like him. He opens himself up beautifully here. Defenders don't know what's happening. Footballer curving that ball, it would have been a beautiful finish.
Parlour getting down to business. Ljungberg. Parlour again. Vieira. I was hoping that it would go to the wider man, Winterburn. problem.
He'd gone off the pitch as well. They're off. Pierre very sportingly just turned round and knocked it out of play. Sure, what happens here? Just a twist of the ankle, you can see that, nothing more. Just kicks the back of Overmars' boot. It's just a twist of the ankle. He rolls off the pitch. Yeah, you can see him.
And Reynald
booking Martin. The thrower with the ball. Referee not happy that he's taking his time.
Chanelay. That was a strange episode because Arsenal didn't need to be as sporting as they were. And then the onus was on Chanelay to throw it back Arsenal's way. Which is a reminder that the FA Cup comes around pretty soon for Arsenal as well. Next month. They're playing the Worthington Cup, the FA Cup, the UEFA Cup, some crucial Premiership games as well. That's why the problem for Petit should be flagged up. I mentioned the FA Cup because, of course, it was that throw-in episode that caused such controversy here against Sheffield United. Well, this season the FA Cup starts earlier for the big clubs, the third round before Christmas. Ljungberg. Chanelay away. Again, that's because of the influence of Europe. If you're a Euro skeptic, you won't approve of that. Vieira. Parlour. Been pretty easy for Arsenal to get the ball back, but when they've had it, they haven't put it to as good use maybe as Arsene Wenger would expect. Kano from Bergkamp's ball in towards his feet, and then it just squeezed through, and even then, nothing happened at the end of it.
Well, they can't get the substitute, they can now. Ball stayed in play for quite some time.
So Duroff has to stay off, and Salomon Olembe, Andy, we've seen him before. He was a 16-year-old who came on for Cameroon at Wembley. The
remember him well.
International to play
Remember him well, Mark. He had a pretty good debut, if I remember rightly.
He's now 18.
Are you sure? He must have been -12 when he was born then.
You be careful, the switchboard will be jammed.
No. Oh, dear.
He played in the World Cup as a 17-year-old.
How could he be 18? That Cameroon game was 7 years ago.
No, this was the recent one. You've obviously forgotten it. Bergkamp.
Back pass he wants.
Well, I think he might have a case. Dennis Bergkamp then. Lembe onto Rubio. Just off.
Well, you talked about this team not playing the back five, Martin. Now I wonder if they'll change and go back forward, but the back pass here as Bergkamp goes in, I think it'd be tough. I mean, it's a desperate challenge at the end. He's only just looking to bring his foot out. I think the referee's giving them the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't dispute that. It looked to me like they've gone back to a back four, no?
Chanelay is their usual right back. And there he is, trying to stop Winterburn crossing. So a couple of minutes plus a bit of stoppage time to go to half-time. Arsenal have a corner. They have a one-goal lead. Overmars leaving it for Vivas, who swing it in with his right foot. Vieira made contact but couldn't get it back across the face of the goal.
Quality hasn't been good from set pieces, Martin, has it really? It's been very un-Arsenal-like. They normally put the ball exactly where they want it. I mean, it's been too deep from Vivas, it's been too long. Even when Petit was on a couple of free kicks here, they never really put them in to that dangerous an area.
Carrier's pass, and this is Ahamada, and it's a chance for Nantes.
Oh, what a chance. What a chance for the young lad, 18 years of age. And a glorious opportunity. And this has been Arsenal. I think they've been sloppy at times at the back, Martin. They could have faced that across the 6-yard box. Monterrubio is square of him, but as soon as he hits it, you can see it starting to arc away from goal. The curve he got on the ball was always going away rather than to the goal. It's a little warning to Arsenal.
And maybe encouragement to Nantes. Is penalised. He went careering into the challenge and got to the ball, and it's a booking for him.
Well, there's no doubt that Sobieski makes an absolute meal of this. There's very little contact, if any, Martin, with any part of his body. That's the difficulty the referees have in identifying that.
2 extra minutes to be added on. Lembe. Certainly a gifted player.
Frustrating out for Arsenal as well, Martin, I have to say. You wouldn't want to concede a goal.
But just shows that even here at Highbury, European teams can make chances against Arsenal. It's not just a Wembley syndrome. A more experienced player than Hamada have made them really pay them. David Seaman very grateful that the shot was across him and wide of the far post. Now Arsenal have to concern themselves with this free kick. Monterrubio over the ball. To try and charge. And he comes in, goes Sobieski, shot, and it deflects away. There was no one running in for Nantes. Had they done so, that ricochet would have been very favourable.
Well, you know that word I use, gamble. And there was a classic example. Someone just had taken a chance and running in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Might well have had a tap in for his side. And the difference here for Arsenal as well, of course, is Champions League 1-0. You'd regard that as a pretty good result. You get your 3 points and you go home. And you think about how you get a point away from home. But for Arsene Wenger, he knows 1-0 at home is not the kind of result that you want in a 2-legged tie. You don't want to concede. He would consider 1-0 very slender to take to Nantes in a fortnight's time.
Vieira. Last few seconds of the first half. And Grimondi rather summing up much of Arsenal's work in the first period here. Parla. Kanu. Now that's better for the Gunners. Ljungberg. Held up by Olembe. And there will be scarcely time, one feels, for the throw to be taken. Parla. Now Ljungberg. Referee giving every impression of being about to blow for half-time. He does. Well, it's been a scratchy first half for Arsenal, in truth, especially when they got the bonus of a relatively early goal in the 15th minute. Mark Overmars penalty. There was no doubt about the decision. Kanu was felled by Leroy. But from then on, Arsenal haven't really got into full working order, and they've given away a chance, but not a goal. They lead 1-0 at the break.
Multi-million-pound Italian maestro.
50 grand English journeyman.
Sophisticated French superstar.